1, 2, 1, 2. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's good, Master Blaster? And what's good? How's the RCF? The RCF is great, man. No complaints. Up and coming artists, what's up? What's up? Hey, thanks, Master Blaster. Yeah, I kind of took some time off building the wall, but yeah, I'm gonna get back to it. It was a rough winter, man. Couldn't really be out in the lab as much as I wanted to, but I'm gonna get back to it. Plus, I bought that truck, so I've been working on that Project Tahoe also. So, you know, the money's kind of went sideways on buying speakers, but it's coming along. Pretty much what I have right now can destroy the house, you know what I mean? So I'm in no rush to buy the other speakers right now. Because I mean, the RCF alone is powerful as hell, man. Plus I have it on a CVR, so you know what that is. Getting a serious lag from this tablet. Like the messages are coming like really, really late, so I need to use my phone. I'm not sure I'm gonna use 18s for the bottom ones. I think I'm gonna go with some 21s. So I'll have the two RCF 18s playing bass, and then I'll use 4 21s to play like sub. Sub is just like a lower frequency than the normal bass, you know what I mean? That's that earthquake type bass. That bass you more feel rather than hearing, you know? Master Blaster, you have a system? No, I don't think I'm gonna get into those competitions, man. Those are not real competitions. Those are all about best friends, you know what I mean? No one really judges fairly, you know? It's just like, if you're my friend, you won automatically, so it's not really a competition, you know what I mean? I mean, I'd rather just hook up my system and just play along with somebody versus, you know, calling it a competition. You know, those are all like friendship stuff, man, and there's never a winner anyway. Because you're dare to say who sounded better. You know what I mean? Everybody getting their feelings, man. So what you working with, man? What kind of amps and stuff you got going on there? Okay, Master Blaster, I hear you. Those Context are good amps, though. Can't go wrong with crowns, man. Things last for a very, very, very long time. I'm not gonna say forever, but very, very, very long time. I guarantee you can put those contexts down and save them for a while and use your CVR or AdMark, whatever you want to use. And I guarantee you those crowns will still be working after those other amps have died. All right, so you know we're all gonna end up going back to the Class D amplifiers. No worries, man. So that's why I'm holding on to my Crown Macrotex, man. Because all that digital stuff ain't gonna last as long. We're gonna just have to keep on upgrading, you know what I mean? Yeah, the 5000 is a good amp, kind of big, but I mean, you know, you can't go wrong. Put it that way. I mean, you can't make a bad choice with a Crown. You want to really test your 5000 up against a CVR or AdMark? Tell somebody get a CVR or AdMark, right? And tell them turn it all the way up. Turn the gain all the way up. And if you have the Crown Macrotech 5000, turn your gain all the way up and see which amplifier clicks first. I'm not saying anything wrong with the CVR and the AdMarks. They're very good amps. You know what I mean? That's what we're using right now. You know, I use the CVR. You know, very good amp. But I'm just saying that you can't go wrong with a Crown, man. You know, they're like tanks. You know what I mean? You just put them down and come back to them when you feel like. But they're very good. It's only because they're so heavy and they take up so much space. You know, like the 5000. But they're very good. You know what I mean? Plus, they're the only amplifiers that change colors. You ever seen a Macrotech change colors, man? They turn red. Yeah, I'm analog too. I mean, I'm just using the digital stuff just because it's the new thing, you know? Like every time I turn on one of these digital amplifiers, I'm like, you know, my fingers start shaking when I press that power button because you don't know what the hell's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's like these LCD TVs, you know, you turn them on one day and they just be a black screen, you know what I mean? They all have a time limit on them. That's real talk though, man. Trust me. I mean, it's only because all these amplifiers are brand new right now, but we'll see. We'll take it another 5 years down the road and we'll see. I guarantee you my crowns will still be right here, man, in the QSC. I'll probably be done throughout the digital amplifiers, but I guarantee you I'll still have the QSC and the crown. So that's why I'm holding on to them, collecting them, because at least at the end of the day, I can still play music, man. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. So I'm keeping best of both worlds going, you know? But for those guys that are like fully digital amplifiers, okay. I mean, when you wake up that morning and you hit that power button and nothing comes on, I mean, what you gonna do? I mean, you gonna replace 4 or 5 amplifiers all at once? I mean, come on. You know, gotta have a little bit of both, you know? I'm thinking about getting an analog crossover just in case my DBX wanna act up one day. Because you gotta think about it, man. All this stuff is all digital, you know? Why do you think you gotta change your cell phone like every 5 years? These damn things don't work for long. I'm gonna check your page out, I'll follow you. Hey man, sorry for being real, but you know how I do, man. I just speak the truth, you know what I mean? That's just how it is. I ain't gonna tell you to buy something if I ain't using it, you know? I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the support. It ain't about getting 1,000,000 subscribers or followers or likes or whatever the case may be. I just do it because when I started, there was nothing to turn to, you know what I mean? This was pretty much like just reading books and going to dances and seeing how someone else do it and ask questions, you know what I mean? There was no YouTube to really go check it out and see what's going on. And even when YouTube came about, you really didn't see that guy telling you about how to hook up this piece of equipment, what equipment to use, you know what I mean? There was none of that, because everyone was pretty much just hiding what they have. They don't want you to really see or know any information to get into the business, you know what I mean? You know, it's like a locked door policy with a lot of DJs and sound guys, you know? They don't want you to really know the good stuff. I understand a lot of engineers make their living off of, you know, hooking up systems or whatever, so I can't tell everything, but for the most part, I'm gonna tell you, okay, this works, you know what I mean? Do this. You know what I mean? Take it easy with that, you know? Just do the right thing, you know? Buy something good, don't buy the cheapest. So I'm gonna tell you, you know, to help you out in that sense, you know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta be different, man. Just like my rack looks totally different than a lot of other people, you know what I mean? Not everyone is using like 4 different brands of amplifiers. You know, everybody try to stick with one brand or whatever the case may be. But I feel as if, you know, if I use them, test them out, they work, you know, at least I can tell you, hey, look, this works, you know what I mean? So my case is a little different. I could have went with all crowns or all Behringers or all QSC or all CVRs, but instead, you know, I got a little bit of everything, you know? Oh yeah, look out for that WASI amplifier coming soon, all right? I'm still supporting WASI 100. You know, I just haven't gotten around to picking them up yet. But as soon as I'm finished with a couple of things, I'm definitely putting the WASI amplifier in my racks, all right? Kelvin, what's up, man? Everything good? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with running bridge mono. I mean, it all depends on the amplifier, you know what I mean? So the better the amplifier, you know, the more likely you can run it for a longer period of time. You know, because bridge mono takes a lot more stress, it puts a lot more stress on the amplifier versus running it at 8 ohms or 4 ohms, you know, per channel. You know, it's like bridge mono is like, you know, like an elephant sitting on your back, you know what I mean? Pretty much. But it depends on the amplifier, man. If you got a good amplifier, I mean, there's nothing wrong with running bridge mono. Hey, you already know the good amps to run in bridge, you know, QSC Crown. These digital amplifiers, I'm not telling you to go ahead and do it in bridge mono. You know, you're at your own risk doing that. Yeah, Master Blaster. Those WASI amps are pretty good, man. I mean, they cost a little bit more than the Admark and the CVR, but it's worth it. You know what I mean? You're getting good parts inside of them. And at least you know where to get them fixed, too. Like I said, I support the WASI amplifiers 100%, and they will be in my racks pretty soon. Might have to get another rack, but it will be in my racks. Yeah, Master Blaster, I deal with what works. I mean, a lot of people used to curse the iNuke amplifiers and say how they're not good or whatever the case may be. Well, you gotta remember, it depends on what you're doing. I mean, there is no bad amplifier out there. You know what I mean? There is no bad amplifier. All these amplifiers are designed for a purpose and for certain venues and situations. You understand what I'm saying? So some are budget friendly, you know, that you can get into the game and, you know, start making a little money or, you know, start gigging. And then you have some amplifiers that are more expensive for the professional level. Understand? So you can't compare the both of them where you want to compare PowerSoft to the iNuke. I mean, that doesn't make sense. You know, that's a Honda versus a Mercedes, you know what I mean? There's more expensive parts that's going into the Mercedes versus the Honda. Yes, the Honda is a very good car, but the Mercedes is of more value because of the parts that go into it. You understand? So you can't compare the both of them because, I mean, you wouldn't take like an iNuke and go do like a big old concert or whatever the case may be with only like one or two of them, as you would taking a chance with one PowerSoft, you know, K20 or whatever the case may be. You understand? So it just depends. It just depends on the situation. If you're like a basement DJ, the iNukes will work perfect for you. If you're a club DJ, the iNukes will work perfect for you. If you're doing concert, the PowerSoft will work perfect for you. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I always say to buy the best you can afford, you know, so that way you can kind of, you know, juggle different venues or whatever the case may be versus being just set to just doing one thing. Because if you buy a cheap amplifier, you're just going to be set to doing that basement level or backyard type situation because your amplifiers can't, you know, provide you the sound that you want to go do, you know, the large scale club events. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times people will curse an amplifier out because why? Because they're taking a cheap, affordable, good amplifier and they're trying to make it do concert level shit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just how you have to put it. Like, you know, there's nothing in my rack that is like under 2,000 watts rated or whatever the case may be. I mean, I have a EuroPro 2000, you know, I have the 4000, I have the QSC 2000s, you know, the Macrotech 3600, the iNuke 12,000, the CVR 33, you know, 02, whatever. I mean, so there's nothing in here that is like, say, 300 watts or whatever the case may be, where I can be like, oh yeah, I can't do that because, you know, I don't have enough power. I have a little bit of power for every kind of situation right now, you understand? So if you build your system in that sense, then you know, there's no limits for you. But if you're on the cheap end and you're buying just 500 watt amplifiers, then you're gonna be set to just doing that little small event or whatever. But some guys are crazy enough to take those little cheap 500 watt amplifiers and trying to do club stuff. And then when the amplifier blows, they get on the internet and they say, oh, the amp is garbage, oh, that amp don't work, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, that's not the company's fault. The company built a low budget amplifier to do small scale events, and you're trying to make it do large scale events. So you have to think accordingly, you know what I mean? Because I have like the 2,000 watt Behringer or the QSC. I mean, those are just gonna play tweeters for me. You understand what I'm saying? I use those for tweeters. Another guy now, he's gonna take that same QSC, and I've seen sounds do it. They have that same QSC or that 4000 EP 4000 Behringer, and they have that amplifier playing bass. You get what I'm saying? And if that amplifier blows out on them, guess what they say? Oh, the Behringer EP is garbage. Oh, the QSC 2000, all it does is clip out. Yeah, it's gonna clip out because you have that amplifier doing something that wasn't built to do in a large scale event. I mean, you put that same amplifier and use it in the basement playing the bass that you want it to play, I guarantee you, you'll be impressed versus trying to stretch it out. You know, and then especially the guys that are using 8 speakers on one amplifier. I mean, come on now. Come on. Let's be serious here. You know, you spent $500 or $800 on an amplifier and you're putting 8 18s on the one amplifier. You're asking for trouble. And then when that amplifier blows, you say, oh, stay away from that amplifier is garbage. I would never put 8 speakers on my 12,000 iNuke. You know what I mean? Because that's not what it was made for. You understand? You know? I mean, I understand the affordability, like some people can't afford non-amplifiers like I have, but you have to start slow and work your way up and say, okay, you know what, I have an iNuke, let me only put 4 speakers on there, maximum. But you're trying to stretch it out to 8 subwoofers, 4 on each side. You know, you're asking for trouble, man. Come on. Then you can't get on the internet and bash the amplifier company and say, oh, they're garbage, they're a waste of time. No, you're the fool for trying to overload it. You understand what I'm saying? You know, you can't have a basement amplifier trying to do club shit. Simple as that, you know? Come on. You know, if you add more power, you can provide more power. You know, it's a simple math. You know, you keep it at 4 ohms and your amplifier will last twice as long as trying to bridge it and as far as trying to drop it down to 2 ohms. All right, 2 ohms is like a red zone. You put anything in 2 ohms, which is pro audio or whatever the case may be, that takes a whole lot more power to provide than a 4 ohm load. You understand what I'm saying? When you're dealing with car audio, 2 ohms is okay. That's fine. You know, that's direct current. But when you're dealing with alternate current situation, like the house stuff, I mean, 4 ohms is where it should stop. You know, that's my opinion. Unless you're going large scale amplifiers like PowerSoft and lab grouping and so forth. But if you're just dealing with these $500, $1,000 amplifiers, you should not even be messing around or even thinking about 2 ohms or bridge mode. That's just the way I see it, all right? Now, if you go grab yourself a couple of Crown Macrotech 5000s or 3600s, and then you say you want to go into 2 ohms, now that's a different ball game, because the Crown Macrotech is old, but this old stuff will compete with these newer speakers. You understand what I'm saying? This is solid power versus all that overrated stuff. You understand? So it's simple as that, man. You just gotta be mindful of what you're spending and what it can do. You know what I mean? It's your money weighing the wattage and stuff. So that's why I say, you know, you go pick up these old amplifiers for cheap right now. You can do what those big boys are doing with 8 speakers and 16 speakers or whatever the case may be. So these old amplifiers was built very well. You get what I'm saying? Versus this digital stuff that is like $500, $800, and you needed to play 8 speakers. It's not gonna work. Get yourself 2 Crown Macrotechs, and you can run those 8 speakers. You know what I mean? Smoothly. You know, for a longer period of time also. Right now I'm using the CVR to play the bass, but when I get those 21s, I'm going to use the Macrotech to play them. You know, a lot of people will say, well, the CVR has more wattage than the Macrotechs. But it's something about the Crown where that low end is like serious. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, the dampening on the Crown is just serious. The only thing that I've seen with a dampening like that is like the PowerSoft or the live groupers. You understand? So when it comes to that low end, I mean, you know, the Crown is the way to go, man. So I'm going to use the 2 Crowns to play my 21s. You know. I'm going to put 2 speakers on each amplifier and bridge parallel mono. All right, so that's just the way it's going to be. And, you know, the CVR can play the regular bass 18s or whatever the case may be. But, yeah, definitely the Crowns are going to be playing the subs. You know, because, I mean, you need less wattage to play bass than you do with, like, you know, mid-range. Mid-range is always the problem. You know, frequency with the clipping out of amplifiers and stuff, but you can play solid bass with a really good amplifier, you know. Blast King is pretty good. They're getting more and more popular. Also 18 Sound. 18 Sound is another good brand. Yeah, PRV is pretty good too. You know, they're a newcomer to the game, to the sound system game, but PRV has been around for a long time. You know, if you check on YouTube, like car system shows and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of vehicles with PRVs in there. They're pretty good. And to me, if a speaker can maintain a car audio system, I mean, trust me, those are good speakers. So these guys drive the shit out of the woofers, you know what I mean? So, yeah, pretty much if it can handle the abuse of the car audio world, it's definitely worthwhile, you know what I mean? For the sound system world also. Because in all actuality, when you're doing sound system, you have so many more speakers. Each speaker is not driving, you know, to its full capacity because you have so many. You understand what I'm saying? And the frequencies are all separated, so you're really not using the full wattage of the speaker. So someone will see me get the PRVs and say, hey, why did you get those cheap 12s for mid-range? Why? Because you're not going to use the full wattage of mid-range. You know what I mean? When you're doing it like that. I mean, back in the day, I used to use those little cheap speakers called Super Pro, or whatever the case may be, play my mid-range. And I've never had a problem with them. You understand what I'm saying? I played in clubs and outside, and those speakers were like 150 watts RMS back then. You know, so I mean, an 800 watt woofer now, I mean, come on. I'm serious. You can't handle a mid-range frequency turned up in a club. Everybody be deaf. You know what I mean? Especially when you're playing out of more than one speaker, you know? I mean, you have 4 12s turned on in a place. I mean, each 800 watts. I mean, you can't turn that frequency all the way up. You can't turn that gain all the way up. Everybody be deaf in there. Complaining is too loud. So you're not going to use the full wattage of them. So you can go ahead and use like low grade mid-range speakers, you know, but get you a good amplifier. You know, that's the key right there, to use a good amplifier. You don't want an amplifier clipping out of it. Definitely bleeding. I've been in events before where you have to kind of keep your fingers in your ears, man, because the horns in the mid is so damn chopping, you know what I mean? And things are like, every time like the rhythm claps, you know what I mean? That clapping sound, it's like your ears want to fall out, man, you know? So yeah, I mean, you really don't need that much power for mids, you know, once you have your system tuned right. Especially if you're not putting any form of bass or low mid into your mid-range speaker, like I'm not, there's like no low mid going into my 12s. So I have all that extra power to just go to voice, you know what I mean? Because what really strains a woofer is that low frequency, you know? Put it this way, the less frequency you can put to a woofer, the more powerful it will be. Hey, believe it or not, I'm running 5-way. But, 3-way is pretty good. You just gotta buy better speakers. When you extend your system out to 5-way, each speaker is gonna be playing less frequency than it would be if it was playing 3-way. But you have to be a sound system guy to really understand frequencies and to hear it. A lot of people can't hear it. They just get a bunch of stuff and they hook it up and just turn it up. Everything is in one. You got horns playing low mid. You have mid frequency playing low bass. Mid bass and stuff. You have bass speakers just driving, playing mid range and everything else. You know what I mean? So there's not everyone that can tune a system and chop it up into 3, 4, or 5 ways. Some people, they just, they separate the highs and they say, okay, everything else is good. They have their bass speaker playing mid-range, and when you do that, subwoofer wasn't designed to play high frequency. So when you are putting that extra high mid into that woofer, it's not gonna last as long, and plus it's gonna sound distorted. So you have to really know what you're doing and use your ears, you know what I mean? Simple as that. It's like somebody riding up to you in a car and your system is just blaring, just going crazy and whatnot, and you're like, what the hell, what is the word saying? They have no clue. They just know their system is loud, and that's just the way it is. When you do that, your stuff don't last as long. Like I said, I used to use cheap stuff back in the 90s, man, and I never had a problem blowing speakers. If I didn't sell those speakers, I probably would still have them. And those were like $60 Super Pro mid-range speakers back then, And those EVs were like $400 and Fanes. Fane subwoofers. Come on, those things were like 400 watts, but kick like shit. Them things played, But now you have these 10,000 watt speakers, and people still don't know what to do with them. They're still blowing them. Why? Because most of the guys these days don't know what they're doing. They're just buying the expensive stuff, hooking it up, and don't know what they're doing. And then they have all this fancy stuff behind the racks, covering up the wires and making it look all neat. It's all a fashion show now. You understand what I'm saying? It's all a fashion show, just who has what and how it looks and whatever the case may be. Everyone's trying to sound like an audiophile, like an orchestra versus, a rugged sound system. You understand? Everyone wants the perfect highs and the perfect mid-range and all that pretty looking good, boxes and all that crazy nonsense. Come on, man. This is supposed to be a rugged sport right here. You come out and you play rough, you know what I mean? You play hard. When you have the patrons come in there, their chest is like beaten out of their body, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be like a rugby type sport, man. Now they're turning it into like some little, orchestra event. Everyone wants to look pretty and everyone wants to sound like, they're in an audiophile concert type situation. Come on, that's a whole nother level right there, You can't afford these audiophile equipment that these guys have. They have amplifiers that be like $10,000, $20,000. And turntables worth like $30,000. You can't sound like them. So why stretch that limit trying to go that route? It doesn't make sense. Just keep it rugged and keep it rough. Because you have all these covers on the back of your rack. Something simple goes wrong, and it's going to take you about 45 minutes to unscrew everything and unsolder wires to rehook it up to your speak-on cable and do all that nonsense. Come on, no. I'm not putting those covers on the back of my rack because I've been there where something goes wrong and all I needed was to change a wire real quick or change an amplifier real quick, and I can do that. So this pretty stuff is, out the window for me. I'm not doing all that. I'll keep my rack messy, junky, whatever you want to call it, but at least I can go back there and do what I need to do within 2 seconds. You get what I'm saying? Everton is a 5-way. I'll kind of show you my speaker setup. Hold on. So wide, I can't get the whole view. Yeah, so we have the tweeters, which is highs. We have the high mid, the horns here. They have the mid, the 212s. We have the 15s playing low mid. We have the 18 playing the bass. And down here will be the subs, 21 inches. Alright, so that's how you get 5-way. And everything has a little bit of a different frequency, so you really can't, you know, work without the other pretty much, you know. So everything comes together and, you know, that gives you the 5-way. Because if I turn the highs off, you'd be like, wait a minute, there's a little bit of tweeter missing. If I turn the horns off, you'd be like, wait a minute, the high mid frequency is missing. And if I turn the 12s off, you would definitely hear a big difference. And then you got the low mid 15s. Alright, so this 15 is a PRV. And the 18 is a RCF, you know, which is going to be playing bass. So I actually made these to where this box sits underneath the mid-range, alright, because I built everything in pretty much one box. Alright, I don't think you'll see anyone else with a box like this. Alright, because usually the 15 is separate when people are making these tall boxes like this. Alright, but I decided to put my low mid inside of it. I mean, it's heavy as hell, but it works for me. Alright, so this is supposed to sit on top of this and both of these side to side, so it's pretty tall, but I can't do it in here. Alright, because that's almost the ceiling there. Alright. So yeah, that's it. You have the CVR. $3002 and the Euro Pro. Alright. That's playing my horns right now. You have the EP 2000. Alright, that's Euro Pro. Behringer. Alright, you have the QSC. It's the 2000s. There's two of them. Alright, and in this rack, you have the Behringer iNewt. Alright, these are NU 12,000s. Alright, it's two of them. And up here you have the Macrotech 3600 VZs, two of them. Alright, so these will be playing the 21s in bridge parallel mono mode.
Alright. Okay. Alright. So these are playing my mids and my low mid. Alright. You have the Clark Technica. It's the DN360 graphics EQ. You have the Affix Exciter with big bottom. Alright, these are very rare right now. It's hard to find them. And you have the BBE 882. You have the DBX. Alright, it's the 166 XL compressor limited gate. You have the Drive Rack 260. Alright, it says everything. This is way better than the Drive Rack PA. Alright. And you have the M350 TC Electronics. Alright, just like a reverb, all that good stuff. And here you have the Furman PL Plus. Alright. Here I have the Mackie 1642 VL Z3. Over here you have the old school Digitech. Alright. It's the 1900. Made by Digitech. It's a rare item also. Hard to find. Alright. It's a good piece to hold on to if you can get one. Alright. Just showing you everything here. It's the Pioneer DDJ SX2. Alright, it's one of the best controllers ever made. And here I have the MacBook Pro. Alright, it's an i7 processor. It's a 2012 edition. Alright, so I have, what is it? 1 terabyte SSD. Alright, drive. So I got a lot of storage, pretty powerful. Alright, and that's about it. Alright, I have some powered speakers here. Alright, it's a JBL SRX 15 and Rockville 18. I have two EVs in my office, the ZLX. But that's pretty much a sound system right here. So I'll be finishing these up pretty soon. Alright, what 21s I'm going to go with, you just got to stay tuned for that video, that unboxing coming soon. Alright. Put this back here. Alright. Hopefully that stays, doesn't fall off.
Mr. Blaster, you asked what is high bass? Did I say high bass? No, there is no high bass. There's bass and there's sub bass. Let me explain. Sub bass is more of bass that you kind of feel. You ever went to like a club and the walls is shaking and you know, you really don't really hear it. You kind of more feel it. The whole place just vibrates. You know what I mean? It's almost like an earthquake or something. You know what I mean? You know, it's just hard to explain, but almost like a tornado. It's just that wind. You know, you get that heavy woof. You know what I mean? And bass is more punchy. You know, it's a punchy thing. That's the one you feel in your chest. You know, but the sub is just, it just shakes everything. You know. Alright, so a better way to explain sub bass would be anything under 30 hertz would be considered a sub frequency. So anything like 20 hertz, whatever the case, 20, 25, 30, that would be a sub frequency. Everything a little bit above that would be more bass frequency. You know what I mean? To about, let me check this EQ, I'll tell you exact. So I would say from 35 to about 60 or so would be your bass. You get me? And anything underneath that 35 would be sub frequency. So that's how you could break it down. So when you look at an EQ, you can pretty much go every 5 or 6 keys could be a totally different frequency for your system. You can do it that way and break your speakers up versus your speaker playing, you know, 2 frequencies. You break them up into just one. I made the speaker boxes, everything. All these boxes I made myself. Man, you got a QSC crossover, man. That ought to be worth some money one day, man. Yeah, eBay is the best place to buy equipment. You can get some good stuff off eBay, and then you can get some junk off eBay. I bought a lot of junk off eBay. But yeah, it's the best place to find like rare items or whatnot. Reverb is another one. Reverb is like all systems, you know what I mean? Like they have all equipment stuff and, you know, system equipment, whatever, you know, for building a system. But eBay has a little bit of everything. But Reverb has just straight parts, you know what I mean? Just amplifiers, speakers, equipment, and so forth. You know, so it's like a music store, but you know, people sell used stuff on there. So reverb.com, that's a good place to get you know, some good stuff. Actually, I bought one of these iNukes off of there. I got my crowns from one I got from eBay and one I got from Facebook Marketplace. But yeah, there's a lot of places. Craigslist used to be the place to get stuff, but I mean, you know, they sell junk too. Most people just try to get rid of their junk they had sitting in their garage forever. So you gotta be careful when you're buying expensive stuff off eBay, but you know, eBay is a good place because you can send it back if it doesn't work. But a lot of times, you know, you get stuff that, like this mixer, for example, it works, but after like 30 minutes when it heats up, there's like a buzzing noise in there that is like ridiculous annoying. It's almost like a ground issue, but it just comes and goes, just buzzes, you know. It's a pain in the neck, so I don't know if I'm gonna fix it. I'll probably just get another one, but it's annoying. So you gotta be careful. You know, the stuff will work, but then after using it for a while, then you're like, oh, okay, there go the problem right there. I never heard of a Rolls crossover. A good crossover is a Rain. A Rain crossover is a really good crossover. You can get one of those old ones. I forgot the model number on there. I think it was AC23. They have a 4 and a 5-way one. Those are the good ones. Yeah, it came out with another model after. I think that one was green or something like that. But that original dark gray one, the AC23s. I think it was. I think that's the model number, but they come in a 4 and a 5-way. That's a very good crossover. Furman makes a crossover also. And of course, Ashley is one of the best. I didn't understand that question, man. Yeah, it's not supposed to be run on 120, but I have 2 different power outlets, 2 separate circuits it's plugged in on 120. You know, and I can't put all the amplifiers on. I can only do 5 at a time. But believe it or not, man, you would think that the crowns would pull the most electricity. Like if I turn them on, I can turn on both Crown Macrotech 3200 and the Behringer iNukes all on one circuit, and it won't do anything. But if I just have the equipment part here and I put that CVR on by itself on the same circuit, it pops the breaker. So the CVR is like the problem, you know what I mean? That thing pulls more electricity than I think both Crown Macrotechs, believe me, man. You know, if I put the CVR with all of this stuff right here, it's gonna pop the circuit versus me having the two Macrotechs on one circuit. You get what I'm saying? So the CVR pulls more electricity than the Macrotech. See, a lot of people would think the other way around. They always curse the Crown saying that it pulls a lot of current. But maybe when it's playing at its full, yeah, it might draw more current than the CVR. But just at idle, I'm not even talking about playing, I'm talking about just turning it on, just the power alone from it coming on in those capacitors, sucking all that energy, it clips to the circuit. You know, so, yeah, I could turn on the Macrotech. Even right now, I could turn on the Macrotech with all these other amplifiers on. Because I have about 5 on right now. I have the 2 Behringers and the 2 iNukes and the CVR running right now. But I could still turn on the Macrotech, you know. So, you know, it doesn't pull as much current as the CVR. Yeah, and I don't know if you watched one of my other lives. I think the first time I turned on the CVR while I had the system already playing, and I said, all right, I wasn't using the CVR, it was off. And I think I was using the iNukes and the regular Behringers or whatnot. So I decided to go ahead and flip on the CVR. Man, the whole system went down. That thing knocked out the power, man. I was like, yo, trust me, I thought it was the other way around, that the Macrotechs would pull more current than the CVR, but it's the other way. CVR pulls way more current. Just at idle, not even playing, just from being on, just from powering up. It's like it has so many capacitors in there that, you know, it just pulls everything all at once. Exactly, you see, everybody thought that, you know, these new digital amplifiers, whatever, pull less current. But it's only because they're not comparing it to the Crowns or whatnot, because they don't have them anymore. So now it's all good. They think, oh yeah, you know, I have the digital thing, you know, it's less weight and less space or whatever, but they're not considering the power draw is like way more than the Crown Macrotechs even. You know, I don't know how it would compare to the 5000, but I know with the 3600, that CVR pulls a whole lot more at idle, you know, because if I put it on the same circuit and I turn on one Macrotech and I turn off the Macrotech and then turn the CVR on, the whole system go down, you know? It's crazy, man. Yep. That's the only amplifier in here that will actually dim the light when I flip the switch, you know? Pretty sure the AdMark might be the same way, because like I said, they have so many capacitors in there, and you know how capacitors work, they have to charge up, you know? Like when you power on the transformer, you know, the electricity go all the way through, whatever. But like the capacitors, they have to energize, you know what I mean? So they pull a whole lot all at once, you know, to energize, to stable the amplifier. After a while, I guess it levels out, but you know, the current draw is a whole lot more than the Macrotechs. You know, I thought it was the other way around too until I, you know, tried both of them, and I'm like, oh man. At first, I thought something was wrong with the amplifier. I'm like, yo, what the hell going on here? So then I plugged it into its own circuit, and it was fine. You know, so I don't have to plug the Macrotechs into its own circuit. Actually, I have one of them hooked to this Furman right here, and the other one hooked to another Furman. You know, but the CVR has to kind of have its own, line with the other two barriers. So it's only those amplifiers over there on another circuit. But if I turn on a QSC or whatever, the power will go out. So that's my limit right there, is just 5. So yeah, I definitely thought it was the other way, but the AdMark might be the same way too, because they're all built the same way. There's really no difference. Just the components are different in each amplifier, that's all. But they're all basically, kind of built the same way with the, like, I don't know how many capacitors they have in there, but they have a whole lot. So that's what I was saying about the reliability versus, the macrotechs or whatever the case may be. All those capacitors are not going to last forever. They're not going to last as long as the macrotech will. That transformer's not going nowhere. I'm gonna make a video when I'm getting my distro hooked up. I gotta get an electrician to tap into this electric box. I don't mess with that type of stuff, so when I get the electrician to come in and hook up my distro, then I'll make a video for that. So what amplifiers you using now, man? Okay, 6002. Those are good. Those are lightweight too. Those are the lightweight ones, right? What's the model on those? XTI? Okay. Those are good amplifiers. Anything crown, man, like I was saying earlier, you can't go wrong with the crown. I know if I see a Macrotech 5000 for going for a good price, I might get it. Just to have it, you know? Let me see, what was it, like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I bought these crowns. Let me see, the price was about what? $500-600 you can probably get one for, you know, in okay condition, you know? In mint condition, probably about 800 or so. But I was checking them like a few months ago, man, and believe me, the price of them done went up. I see some on eBay now for like $1,100, you know? You know, in okay condition, not even mint condition. So the price is, you know, slowly going up on them. So anytime you see a crown and you can afford it to get it, just get it and put it one side, man. Trust me. It's gonna be worth something one day. I also go for the QSC them too, like the RMX and the EX, you know, and the MX series. Yeah, those QSCs are gonna be worth something, you know. Might be sooner than we think. See, that's the thing. People need to stop worrying about the weight, man. The weight is not that severe on the 3600 versus like the CVR and stuff like that. You understand? It's not that severe. I mean, the rack alone weighs probably like 40 pounds. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not gonna get away with being light, you know, it's already heavy. You know, this rack right here is heavier than this rack. So, I mean, you're not going to get away from being totally light unless you're just carrying around 2 amplifiers with you. So regardless, you're going to need 2-3 people to lift your rack up. But those CVRs weigh probably about, I think they're about 25 pounds or whatever. The lightest amplifiers you can get right now is probably the Behringer iNukes. Them amplifiers are real light. You know, I mean, I can hold one of those amplifiers with one finger. I mean, those are the lightest ones, but the CVR is a good weight. The CVR is not light. You know, so, I mean, I think the Macrotech is what, 40-something pounds, I think? It's not that bad, man, trust me. I mean, regardless, you're gonna need 2-3 people to lift your rack up. You still won't be able to lift it by yourself, so it doesn't matter what amplifier you get. And what you can do is half racks. Instead of getting one full 16 rack, you get like 2 8s if you have heavy equipment. You know, like these, I would never move these out of the house if I don't have a ramp or it's going straight inside of a building. You understand what I'm saying? I would never lift these up any steps. So the weight don't really, mind me that much because I'm not going to be picking them up anyway. So, it has to be straight into a truck or on a ramp or something. And, that situation, that's how I've moved them. But, picking them up is, it's crazy. So even if you have 5 CVRs, it's a good weight. It's not light at all. When you have heavy amps like this, you put them in 2 different racks and you can separate them. Like I have the QSCs over there and I have the Macrotechs over here with the light iNukes. The iNukes are like less than 20 pounds each, So, the CVR weighs more than iNukes. So you really don't have to worry about the weight too much. You just get the quality, that you're looking for. That's the most important thing. Now, if you're going for like, what's that amplifier? I know the 5000 is probably about 60 pounds. It's probably up that way. And what's the other one, man? There's another one that's even heavier than that. Damn thing, probably almost 80 pounds, I think. I'm gonna tell you in a second. Here you go right here, the Crest Audio 8001. You get that amplifier there, oh man, trust me, it's got to be in a rack by itself. That's one heavy amplifier, man. Let me see if I can find the weight. Them old Crest amps is no joke, man. Trust me. amps that could hang with the Macrotechs. But like I was saying earlier, man, it's just something about when the bass drop with one of those older amps versus these new digital amplifiers, man. Trust me. Oh, so I was right. The Crest 8001 is 80 pounds. 79.3. Macrotech weighs 63 pounds. Yeah, so I was right. The CBR is about 26 pounds. If you have to go up steps with them amplifiers, man, that's a different story there, boy. You don't want to lift them things up steps. I've been there. I've been there lifting up racks up steps. Especially if you gotta lift your rack up and put it in the van back, boy. Whew. Serious. And then when the event is over at 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, when everybody's gone and it's only you and your partner, and the two of you have to lift up that rack by yourself, oh man, trust me. I've been there, I've done it. thing is, people always focus on the amplifier rack, but they're not thinking about how much one of their double 18s weigh. You know, you have these boxes with 2 18s in them. They're pretty heavy too, man. They could easily go over 200-300 pounds. Hey, but look, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, alright? I'm gonna try to do a live at least once a month. Yeah, to weigh that up, really easy, man. Master Blaster, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, alright? Well, I did about 2 hours. I said 1 hour and it's almost 2 hours, man. Alright, so catch y'all on the next live. Right? You know, stay safe, man. Stay blessed up. And stay playing the sound system heavy, man, alright?